Did you know that German almost became the official language of the United States? Well, not really. But let's talk about this story and the real historical events behind it, and how the United States came surprisingly close to giving German a much bigger role in early American government. Today, English is the official language of the United States, but that's a recent thing. Until March 2025, the US did not have any official language. This may seem strange as we associate English as the language of the United States. And I mean, it's true, because English has been used as the de facto language, meaning it is used for official purposes, as in, it's used in practice, but it does not hold a legal status. It's also the predominant language used by people living in the country. On top of that, it's the official language of most of the states, but not all. Even on a state level, the adoption of English as the official language has been a recent choice for them, with adoption policies dating back to the second half of the 20th century to 2016 for the most recent one, which is West Virginia. So, what about German? You may have heard the story that German almost became the official language of the country back in the 18th century, because Congress narrowly voted, by just one vote, not to make German the official language of the US. This is often called the Muhlenberg legend. But here's the truth. The United States never came close to making German the national language. This famous one-vote story is a myth. But where did this idea come from? The main event behind this myth can be traced back to 1794, involving German-speaking immigrants and the US House of Representatives. The first ever Speaker of the House, Frederick Muhlenberg, was of German descent. According to the legend, the single vote of Frederick Muhlenberg prevented German from becoming an official language of the United States. Because Muhlenberg was German-American, he became attached to this myth. At the time, the US had a large population of German-speaking settlers, especially in Pennsylvania. Many of them struggled with English, and in 1794, a group from Virginia petitioned Congress. But what they asked for wasn't to make German the official language of the country. They asked for a few US federal laws to be translated into German so that German-speaking communities could understand them more easily. The House of Representatives debated the request. One idea was to print federal laws in both English and German. When it came time to decide, the House voted on whether to postpone the decision. The vote ended up being 42 to 41, and the motion passed. And this is the vote that later turned into the myth. But it wasn't a vote on language status, it was just about whether to delay discussing German translations. Other accounts credit Franz von Löher as the source of the legend. Löher was a German visitor to the United States who published the book History and Condition of the Germans in America in 1847. Löher seemingly placed the crucial vote only in Pennsylvania to make German the official language of that state, not to the United States as a whole. Philadelphia was the city in which the US Congress sat, but it was also the capital of Pennsylvania. To confuse matters further, Muhlenberg had served as Speaker of the Pennsylvania House before he served in that title in the US Congress. According to Löher, the vote was a tie, which Muhlenberg broke for English. Even though the famous story is false, one could argue that German did have opportunities to grow into an official language in early America. Here's why. There's a large German-speaking population that existed in Pennsylvania, Maryland, New York, and the Midwest. In some towns, German was the everyday language well into the 19th century. Secondly, German language newspapers were popular. In the mid-1800s, there were over 600 German newspapers in the US. Third, some communities even ran German language public schools. If federal and state governments had supported bilingual laws and documents early on, German could have become an official regional language, similar to how French is used in some parts of Canada today. But the US never took that step. On the other side of the coin, we can look at why and how English became dominant. First, most political leaders were English-speaking descendants of British settlers. This gives a lot of weight to English. On top of that, many settlers were also of British origin, as the US was a colony of the British Empire. It's not surprising that English appeared as the main language used by people. Secondly, while other languages were present, English served as a unifying language in the early days of the nation. Finally, immigrants were encouraged, many informally, to adopt English for civic participation. As the presence of English grows, it becomes more and more important, leading to even more growth, and so on. So did the United States ever almost make German its official language? No, not officially. But German could have been a major government language if early bilingual efforts had grown. In the end, the United States never chose an official national language, and German simply faded as communities assimilated. Still, the history behind the legend shows how diverse early America really was. I hope you like this story and explanations behind a common myth in the United States. If you know of other historical language myths that you would like me to see break down, let me know in the comments.